Magic is filled with a whole bunch of gimmicks that make me really mad. You know, it's okay to have a cool idea for a gimmick, okay? That's fine. But if the gimmick can only do one thing, I find that a bit limited, okay? I think cool gimmicks, really interesting gimmicks, first can do a bunch of different kinds of things, number one. The other thing I'm really looking for in a gimmick is it's one thing to have a cool idea, but then to be able to create a gimmick that is practical, that you can really do in the real world. Something that's going to work well, something that you can perform in ordinary, everyday situations, something that's going to give you the confidence for you to perform the trick and not have to worry about this or do that or think about a bad angle on your right or all that stuff. So those kinds of things drive me nuts when creative people in magic create these ideas and then market them and say that they're practical or easy, and they're not. That drives me nuts, which is why I work so hard at the stuff I create. I have a whole bunch of ideas I've never released because frankly they're just not practical enough. They're just not versatile enough. It also takes time to work with a gimmick, and really simplification is the process time and again. And it's amazing how often I've shared a trick at a lecture or with magicians at a convention, and there's this sense that it's so simple. And there was nothing simple about getting to the simple. And the same holds true with this trick, this gimmick that I'm really happy to be able to share with you today, and that is clearly impossible. You're going to really like it. It's very magical. The effects you can do with it need very little verbal presentation, verbal support, but if you want to bring your own presentational style to it, all the better, right? That's one of the best ways you can make your magic unique for other people is to bring your personality. And one way to bring your personality, of course, is with your presentations, of course. Now, Clearly Impossible continues my love affair with three things. First, I love visual magic. I love magic that's not, I like mystery. I think it's fun to imply an effect, but it's also fun for something to be explicit, not just implicit. And this is absolutely visual for sure. Second, I do love the fact that it ends in a souvenir, a giveaway, because magic happens in the mind, in people's minds, and often it only happens for a second. And then they just have the memory. That's all they have left, of the memory of the moment. But this is a great way to literally frame the experience, to preserve the experience. So I love this about this. Also, it is, if you're familiar with my work, one of the things I'm obsessed with, and I'm owning it, is I'm obsessed with things that are contained and clear. Okay? Where you can see it, but it's contained. To me, this is a magic ideal, because it suggests the magician cannot tamper with it, but rather than this being opaque, which then they had to open up to find it inside, the fact that it's clear, but it's also contained, tamper-proof. I love those variables. So this is Clearly Impossible. We're going to jump into in just a moment to preparing the gimmick, to the handling, which is very direct. It'll, like anything else, takes a bit of practice for sure, but a very direct handling. We're going to talk about forcing playing cards. We're going to talk about just the beautiful vanishing corner. Now, I first came up with this idea for a bunch of reasons. One is I do a bunch of things with torn corners, and not every time or every performance, but more than every now and then, someone asked, hey, can you put it back together? And I kept thinking, there's got to be some way for me to do something with this corner that's so crazy, that takes it to this next level, that people intuitively aren't interested in seeing it put back together, that the trick feels like it is done. Okay, so I really worked hard, and I went through so many different things to finally arrive at this solution. Okay. The other thing I want to mention is this trick is based on, or one of the core ideas here is what I call my pre-torn corner principle. I first released the pre-torn corner principle to the magic world back in 1990. So I don't know how many years, 30 years ago almost. Back in 1990 with my book, Sankey Panky. In that trick, if you're familiar with my stuff, or if you go online and Google it, whatever, in that book, there's a trick where I use the pre-torn corner principle to create the effect of $2 bills changing places. It's a really cool handling, and that's really the first time, and I've talked to, a bunch of people and, magic scholars and things, and it seems that it is nowhere else in print, certainly nowhere else on video or anything else, prior to that publication. Though, between you and I, if I found out that some Italian magician in the 1500s had explored or came up with the same principle, I wouldn't be surprised, right? I mean, come on. like I'm the first person ever. But in modern times, for sure, I'm generally the one credited with the pre-torn corner principle because it was published in 1990. All right, there's a little background there. That's everything. You're probably very excited to jump in and take a look at exactly what's going on with all these bits and pieces. It's super cool. You're going to love the end result. So easy, so visual. So much magic. Let us take a look at setting things up, okay? There is some very simple one-time preparation you need to do to create the gimmick. But once you do that, you're done. Never have to do it again. And then it's about preparing a playing card. And of course, deciding really if you want to give it away as a souvenir or if you want to use the same setup again and again and again. They're both very strong. I've done both many times. All right? So let's start with this really cool and I bet makes you curious. What the hell's going on with all this, right? Okay. So you open it up inside. What do we have here? We're going to put this aside for just a second. This folded card with tape around it, okay? I'll put that aside for a second. The very first thing you should do when you take these out, and you've got this starter pack, yeah, and then you've got created, handcrafted by the one and only Roy Coopers. You have what we're going to call a steel shim. Okay, you got your circle, your steel shim. And then you also have, and these also are custom cut, manufactured, these very shiny cardboard discs. I had two, now I only have the one. I'll get to that later. Anyway, you got those are the pieces here. That's all the pieces. The very first thing to do, and you don't have to do this, but I suggest, because the pack you got could well have been sitting in the warehouse for a few weeks or a few months, whatever, you're going to find that the vinyl wallet might have a bit of a recess in it. That is not a big deal. Okay, it is fine. But what I suggest you do is to open it up fully, lay it down on a surface, all right? And then get a big book or big something and lay it down flat and neatly on that. Because the flatter this is initially, you want everything to slide as smoothly as possible, is what I'm saying. So rather than this crease here, once you lay it down here, you could still open this up and work it completely. But I really want, when I do these videos, these tutorials for my fans, I want them to be detailed and to cover everything. Okay, really, I'd rather dig too deep into a nitty-gritty for you than not enough. So what you could do is put this down and put a book on it, rest it overnight, get it nice and flat. Okay, so that's my suggestion. Okay, so I have this one here, nice and flat. The other thing to do is you're going to want to take this, and then once it's flat, fold it neatly in half and really get it nice. Make sure the corners are really lining up nicely, all right? And then what you could do is put a book on that for an hour or overnight or whatever. Because ultimately what you want is a nice, clean, flat, neatly folded vinyl wallet. All right? Having said that, let's go on to our second phase there. So let's assume, even this one's not. Just going to do that for now and put it there for now. Let me put my tape on top of there for a second. That's step one. Step two. I'm going to need a pair of scissors, okay? A stapler, of course. And some tape. Okay, I think that's only, and a deck of cards. And what's cool about this is while you'd look at the video and promotion, or the preview video and think maybe it uses some sort of duplicate card, there are no duplicates involved. So at the end of this trick, anybody who was really suspicious and wanted to go through the deck to see if there was maybe a duplicate card, there is none. Very cool that way, for sure. Real bonus. When working for real people in the real world. Now, gonna get the shim. Gonna remove the shim, a steel shim, from inside here, okay? And again, it's custom cut to be a very precise size. Put away that baggie. And I've got my my little black cardboard shiny disc. I'm going to put the shim in the dead center. It's important, okay? Now, if it's a little off center, that's fine, but you don't want it way off center like that. That's not going to work. You want it right as close to the center as possible. Because when we're dealing with magnets, it's very important that we try to be as precise as we can. You know, one really easy way to do this, and I found this is so it's not nitpicky and things, is put a bit of tape on it. Rather than trying to center it, then tape it down, put a bit of tape on it. Hold the tape on the ends, and you can slowly lower this down until it is very close to dead center, and then press down on the, here we go. Like this, then take your thumbnail or something. You really want this. Only ever have to do this once, right? Really press it down, get all the edges like that. And notice, I've got a little bit of tape. So this is my situation here. Super easy to do, right? Then I get my scissors, and I carefully, you don't want, this is important, you don't want to cut at all into the disc, right? Like this, like that, like that, one there like that. Okay. And depending on how fastidious you be, there might be people who are watching right now who go, well, I don't want the tape to go to the very edges. That's okay. Just cut a smaller piece of tape, right? But I am just showing you the way I approach these things. There we go. Okay. We got this. We got that. Okay. So there it is, the blast, beautifully shiny on one side. This is attached on the other side. They were like that. Now, let's grab a card out of the pack. Let's go two of spades. I kind of like a card that has a bunch of white on the face, but it doesn't really matter, okay? Next, what I'm going to do, I'm going to fold one of these in half, okay? Like this, like this. And when you tear the corner off, what I like to do, you could tear a corner that's a little bigger than the circle. Okay, so that the edge of the piece could go below the border of the white. I'd rather not do that. So when you tear a corner off here, I'm going to tear it off from the index, right off the index here. Okay, it's important because if they see inside, I mean, you could still match the edges, the torn edges, but it's so much stronger if you use an index for sure. So I'm going to tear a corner off, and I'm going to make sure it's not especially big. I'm also, when I tear it, going to tear it so it's a little distinctive. Okay. See the pattern on that against my shirt there? It's not just a clean tear across and kind of dips down and this and that. That's going to make it a more convincing and perfect final match, right? Then I take this, I'm going to put this inside the middle here like that. Okay, so there it is, making sure that none of the little edges, and this is all, seems complicated, but this kind of thing you probably would have done even without me suggesting it, right? Then I'm going to take the stapler, I'm going to staple one, I'm going to staple two, let's see here, there's two. There is 3, and there is 4. Of course, I could have had this all prepared, but for this, but you know, then I'd have some lovely fan say to me, "Hey, I didn't understand this," or "Couldn't you have done it from the very beginning?" There we are, like that. Boom, like this. Next, and these are all these side notes I want to mention. You could, after you vanish the piece, there is drama in opening this up, and we find. Not just lying inside the holder, but actually trapped under the clear plastic of the, okay? There is drama to it being face down, right? If you open that up there, boom, you open it up, and they see it's face down. It raises the question, is that the piece? Is it the piece? We don't know. What is it? And so the spectator themselves, of course, removes it, and they find, and possibly, it is the piece, okay? So there's drama to doing that. I personally don't perform it that way. I find the vanish of the piece is so strong that everyone's wondering, where is it? And then when I draw attention over here, when they open up, the moment they open it up, okay? The moment they open up the wall, I want everyone to see, oh my God, it is a matching corner. But is it the corner? Is it the actual same corner? And then you have that drama of that. So I prefer the face, but you might prefer turning it face down, okay? Just saying. Now, important point. When you explore, I'm going to show you how the gimmick works in just a second. There is a difference between having the tail ends of the staples pointing up, okay, and the smooth, flat side of the staples pointing up. Which way up? Assuming you want to reveal the face, it is advisable to have the flat side of the staples uppermost in the wallet. Because this is going to go on top of everything. It's going to actually sit right on top of there. And you're going to want to be able to, as smoothly as you can, slide it off. All right? And if you have the little bumpy parts of the staple uppermost, that's going to create, however modestly and minorly, it's going to create a tiny bit more friction across the surface here than if you point it down. Okay? So this is the way I do it. A flat side of staples are here. The face is facing outward there like that. Okay, now, we don't need the stapler. Okay, we don't need the tape. Let's get rid of both those. No stapler, no tape. Boom, boom, okay? We don't need any more of the starter pack of those, and I'll tell you more about those, and so you can easily order them for next to nothing, for pennies online, okay? Because you're going to want to get a bunch, because you're going to want to use this as a super cool giveaway souvenir. Now, we're down to our prepared black disc, okay, with the steel shim, handcrafted by Roy Coopers, and then we got this, and we're going to take this and with a pair of scissors. Now, I'm going to warn you, this is a strong magnet. However, it's not super strong. It took me forever, these are the kind, to find just the right power of magnet. I played with stuff that was too strong and stuff that was too weak and not dependable on. So, but it's still quite strong, and you're going to find, so cut open the tape. with a pair of scissors. If it sticks to the scissors, you won't be surprised. But this is strong enough to give you a pinch. If it could get between the magnet and the pair of scissors, it'll give you a little pinch, so you got to be careful, okay? Then you remove this magnet, and I was so thrilled. These magnets. Not only was I able to find a manufacturer that would make the perfect, but I was able to get them to make them. This is epoxy, okay? This is an epoxy surface. It is dead black. Okay. When I was first performing this for real people in the real world, I was using a classic silver magnet, and it worked fine. I never got caught, no flashing. But the black is so clean. I mean, now you're getting into 007 secret agent land, right? Okay. This disc, you lay directly on top of this, custom cut, the whole bit. This magnet goes on the back. And how cool is that? When I first came up with the idea for Clearly Impossible, what I wanted to be able to do, the dream of it, was to be able to show one of those classic coin holders inside the wall there. Then I wanted to ask the Spectre if they'd please hold their hand for me, and they do. And then I wanted to be able to hand them the wall for them to hold in their hand. And then a moment later, I wanted them to be able to open it up and find Impossibly inside the wallet now. Boom. A corner had appeared. And this is the super simple method I came up with, okay? It is not hard. This, I'm going to tell you right now, it'll take some practice to get the right touch with this, all right? Take some practice to get the right touch. It's not knacky, but if you think of the time you put into, let's think of a basic slide, a coin vanish, okay, or a double lift. You may not recall, but to get a simple coin vanish or even a double lift card, even the glide, okay? Even the glide move, considered a really simple glide card move for beginner magicians. All of that, you didn't get it in 2 minutes, okay? It took several, a lot of it takes half an hour, 2 hours of practice to get that down. This is gonna be like that. It's super easy. This is a one sleight trick. Barely a sleight, okay? But I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna take some practice to get the knack, okay? To work with the magnet, make it all work for you. So let's look at what we're talking about. We know this is here. I'll give you tips right now. Let me show you the technique, what I'm doing here, okay? From below, okay? I'm here, I'm sliding it gently, okay? I'm sliding it in this action. I'm sliding it, it's 2 fingers, the pinky's there too, and I'm sliding it slowly off to the right. And as it goes off to the right, of course, let me show the exposed view here. It's sliding right into finger palm, along with the shim, along with the plastic disc, right into, I want you to see this here, I'm sliding it right into my hand. Takes a second, okay? Let's look at it again, because I don't want you developing bad habits, okay? I also don't want you, avoid doing this quickly, okay? You're just here, right? You're just here saying, do me a favor, hold at your hand. You're passing them it. That's the large action you're doing. So if you do this, if you show it to them, okay, and you do this, and then you do something quickly, or you're doing this, or you're feeling sort of desperate, you're going to get busted, okay? But if you do it, it's the most your hands are empty, you're closing the wallet, you're passing it over. So let me give you some tips right now. Number 1, do not rest the thumb on top of the gimmick. When you press down, okay, I found time and again, you might think it makes the magnet work better. It doesn't. You're going to, the worst case scenario, let me show you the worst case scenario, is that you're going to slide and press it so it doesn't work. You're going to slide the magnet underneath into finger palm, and let's say the gimmick doesn't come along for the ride. Oh my God, the gimmick didn't come along for the ride. Now, in that case, you've got I just want to give you a backup here. Number 1, of course, is you can say, hold your hand for me, and even by now I'm clean, because all I did was tilt the wallet, and I learned this trial and error, is I tilted the wallet up here, and it slides, boom, right out and into my hand, okay? So that is a backup if, for whatever reason, while workshopping this, until you get the touch right. But, so number 1 is don't press down with your thumb. Here's what I'm doing, okay? Position of the right thumb is there, at the top of the wallet. Position of the left fingers is sort of lightly here. What you want to do is have a grip. You definitely don't want the thumb on the gimmick. As tempting as it's going to be to pull, you're going to have to practice that it's not this. Its fingers and thumbs are away, and it's all on the finger drag. It's all on the fingertips, okay? The right hand fingertips. So not there. The other thing is don't pull too tightly. Don't pull between this and this, or you're going to create pressure on top, and it's the pressure that holds the disc inside the wallet. So what you really want is to hold this as gingerly as you can. And notice, because it's black, you could even flash this thing and no one's going to see anything. It's between your fingers. I mean, it's right there, but you can barely see it. It's black on black, right? So it works so well. So that is the nature of the steel. Take your time. Practice slowly. First couple of, I bet you, here's my prediction. The first time you do it, it's not going to work for you. Second time or third time, it's going to slide out neatly. You're going to go, that was easy. You try it again. It's going to take a little bit. And remember, I'm helping you troubleshoot the steel here, because this is the only move in the trick. Okay. Troubleshooting the steel is no pressure on the thumb, light on both sides here, and you had the back out. If once you practice this, maybe 1 in 100 times, maybe you're not going to, even with practice, the disc might be left. You can always tip up and steal it out in the other hand. Okay, so that's just your backup. But for now, it's here, it's here. We're light here, we're light here. Fingers are, remember, fingers are curling. We don't want too much pressure. Okay, fingers are curling to the right, and as we go to the right, the gimmick, you can see it here. The gimmick is coming along very neatly out into my palm, so simple, as I hand it, okay? So get this down, and it's going to literally look like this. You show the inside. Here, hold the wallet. Okay, that's all it looks like. But make sure you don't get frustrated if after doing it 10 times, it only comes out 8 times for you. It's very important that you practice it and get the steel down cold. No thumb, no stretching, real gentle. Okay, that'll work for you. Once you get it down, it's going to be one of these things like the double lift, like your false transfer, like a million other things that you don't even think of, and works every single time. Sorry, there were 2 other tips I wanted to give you on that. First is I don't pack the 2 together. I've learned this over many years. I find I've worked with a bunch of different size magnets, big and small and this and that, and steel shims and a whole bunch of different kinds of things. And I find that when you keep the, first, I don't want this getting any kind of very subtle bend in. I really don't, okay? Second, I find that the magnet can be weakened by being against a steel shim all the time. So when I pack them together for my case, I usually will put, maybe I'll slip this in the card case and this in a side pocket inside my little case there like that. Or don't pack them together until I'm ready to perform the trick, get it set up in the wallet's in my pocket, and I'm ready to go. Okay, that's one tip. The other tip, I wanted to help you troubleshoot. Another thing I've discovered, it took me a little bit of practice to figure out all these little details, is you want to make, when the steel shim is on top of the coin holder, you want to make sure your steel shim is not, or your magnet is not off to one side. You really want it as centered as possible, okay? So you don't want it up here. And once you get it set up in the wallet, in your jacket pocket or your magic case or wherever you're going to keep it, once you get these things together, they will not shift, okay? Maybe if you were to shake it violently or something, but they're not going to move on you. That was really important when it came to making sure I had a strong enough magnet. But this is off to the side. If you set it up and it's slightly off to the side, I have found that can affect the smooth slide. You want it dead center. There's a bunch of different ways you can force the torn card, okay? You can even do it and have the card signed. Super, very next level. I'm going to teach you all that right now. But first, I'm going to ask you a question. It's something you need to decide for yourself, and that is about the structure of the trick. You can, of course, show this first, close it up, steal it off, hand them that, then get the deck out, okay? Or maybe you're going to get the marker out. You're going to do something here. We're going to need this. So you have the perfect excuse to go to your pocket and get rid of the stolen off gimmick, okay? To do that, like I said, you show this first, then you're going to get your deck or your marker and force the card, okay? So there's a nice advantage to showing that first, then you do the card, then you come back, you do the vanish, and then boom, it's there. Great. Alternatively, and I've done it a million times this way too, is first you force the card, okay? First you force the card. That's another way to do it. Really is up to you. There's many different ways. But let's assume right now, though, that we're going to go with the structure that first we show this. So we've shown this like this. Bum, bum, bum. It's a coin holder. Lots of different, whatever you want. We're going to try something with this. It's an invisible coin. Or I don't know if you can see this here, but it's actually an invisible or invisible piece of a playing card. Whatever you want to do there like that, right? And we're here. And we're remembering again that when we're going to hand this to someone, we're remembering again that we're not going to put too much pressure across. We're not going to put our thumb down. We're simply going to gently pull. And as I've already started to do, you can see it's coming right out. It's in. Then we're going to assume this is the spectator's hand, okay? And maybe they're putting their hand gently flat down on it, or it's between their two hands. Or for a Zoom show, what I would do is I have a glass, and I have this on top of the glass. Very fair. I've shown you it. And then boom, it's on there, and I stole this off. Now I go to my pocket. Let's say I'm getting the marker or the deck of cards or whatever. We'll come back to the sign card method in a second, okay? But let's assume right now I'm getting out the deck of cards. Now, one other thing I want to throw out there, and I'm sorry about jumping around, but I want you to get all this information, is if you really want to keep this thing real tight on the pocket management, what I've done before is I've set up the gimmick and everything, and then I have the torn card beneath, okay? And it's just sitting like this. It's not clipped in place, okay? It's just there, underneath, and this is in my jacket pocket. And when I want to do the trick, I've already got my deck here, right? So I go into my jacket pocket, pull this out, okay? And just, I'm basically a gambler, holding it there. I say, let's try something, and I just drop this directly on top here, and I say, are you pretty strong? Or because in a second I'm going to have you hold on to this wallet, okay? And I'm doing that, and I've just dropped the force card on top of the deck. So that's a really neat way to be able to have this shuffled, done a couple of card tricks. I go into my pocket here, this comes out, or my case, take this out, put it right on top there like that. In a second I have you hold on to that, whatever, and I've loaded the torn card on top, and I'm ready to go. Okay, so that's a pocket management thing. If you're a semi-professional or a full-time pro, you know how important pocket management tips really are. They can make or break how frequently, how often you perform a trick. Pocket management, right? Okay, but we're here. We've shown this to start off, which is nice. We're going to do a theatrical circle, show it empty first, and end with that image. It's under the spectator's hand there. We'll say like this, okay? And I stole it off. Let's just say I went to my pocket. In this case, I got the deck, and I've already got this set up on top there. Let's just say. So let's look at some ways to force the card. My favorite way, for sure, is the world's easiest second deal, right? Because it's already missing a piece. So if I tilt the cards back slightly, come over here, and there's no second deal action. I can easily, with my thumb, access the corner of the card below, and I can go through like this. And I want to make sure, what I typically do, actually, is I pull this down a little bit, because I want to make sure I don't have some moment where they see a torn edge. I don't want that if I'm really close to them. So I pull it down just a little bit, and I'm going through here, and you can say stop whenever you want. What's amazing about this is they really can stop at any card they want, okay? And there's no switch, because it's not like, it's almost equivocate here, because whenever they call stop, they call, so you haven't said we're going to use this card or this card, right? We're just going to go through. They stop whenever they want at any point. And when they call stop, I just come over and take the card off, right? So it is the card they stopped at. I didn't switch. There's nothing switchy going on here. They can call stop at literally any card, snap their fingers, whistle whenever they want. Okay, give me a secret wink. We can stare eyes. I've done that too. I'm going to stare in the eyes. Give me that secret wink whenever you're ready, okay? Whenever you're ready, and it can be quite candid, even erotic, okay? And then they wink, and I've got the card. So, another good thing about no duplicates is because if there was a duplicate in the deck somewhere, maybe I would deal through so many cards that they would then, we would see the duplicate come up, but it's not gonna. I've dealt a whole bunch of cards on the table. Eventually, we get to this position. We're here like this. Now, we're here. Before we go, let's look at another force now before we proceed with the wonderful vanishing of the corner. Okay, so much fun. A total actor's moment there. Okay, let's see. Another way to force this. Let's see here. You can do that first. Just to get right. Boom, that's easy. Riffle force, of course. Riffle force is... Now let me show you a little handling with the riffle force. If I've got this gimmick, it's there. Now, if it's on the bottom, notice if you're not careful, they might see it missing. And the same with on the top. You got to watch your angles here. Now, riffle force, typically what you do is you cut the pack, right? Keep a pinky break, okay? But no matter how careful you are with your pinky break, look, the corner's missing still. It's a tiny neat detail. I know you're working for real people and you just put your hand down a bit and you go and be fine. And they call stop, cut the pack, and you're in the exact position you want to be in. Fine. But my handling, what I like to do here, is I like to have the card I'm going to force, okay, on the back end. It's on the back end, on the end closest to me. Then I cut the pack, I keep a pinky break. So maybe I've just taken the cards out of the case, or maybe I've done a bunch of tricks here and my hand goes into my pocket. I steal off the force card, say give the cards a shuffle. When I take the deck back, I load the force card back on and just make sure it's on the back corner, right? Now I can cut the pack. Now there's no chance of them seeing a missing corner. When they call stop, I cut the pack here and I take the card into my left hand. Okay, comes off right off the top where they called stop, okay? But I'm taking it into my left hand, deck goes down or into my pocket, okay? Then I come over and I'm going to revolve it, boom, 180 degrees as I transfer from like left to right, okay? So we're going to try something here, something you're going to remember for the rest of your life. And what's cool about that is it really gives the impression that nobody's looking for a missing corner, but there is this sense that you're showing all sides of the card. So it's a nice little addition, transferring from right to left and covering that corner, okay? You're there. So we did the traditional second deal kind of force, very easy. We did the riffle force. Now I want you to notice too, what's nice about this riffle force, it's on the bottom, it's on the back edge, they call stop, I cut the cards, bringing the card, to the top here like this, take it off of my left hand. Do me a favor, take the cap off, and right near that corner, I want you to put your initial right there. Now notice what I'm doing here. My hand, I can do it on the table, I can do it on my hand. Go ahead and put your initial right there, right there. And I am concealing the lack of a corner. But I'm holding the card to make it easier for you to put your initial there, okay? Would you go ahead and just put your initial there? Now, I don't, and this is important, I don't say I start to lean single-handedly. I'm going to have you put your initial on that. Because now bringing the hand over, you do this, they're going to be tempted to take the card. He wants me to initial it. He's extending it to me. I'm going to take it. And you don't want to have that struggle moment for sure. So instead I say, actually, would you do me a favor? I'm going to have you just put your initial on the card. And when you do that, okay, or when you do this on the table there, and you're like this, go ahead, put your initial. Or even on the pack. Let's say you're doing the second deal version you're going through. They call stop whenever they want. There's no sleight of hand involved here. I'm here like this. And I say, do me a favor here. Here's the marker. Just to go ahead, put your initial. And I'm here, put your initial on the card. Or I'm here, put your initial on the card. All it looks like is that you're giving them, you're trying to support the card, make it as easy as possible for them to put their initials. Now notice, I don't say write your name. Because they might want first and last name. There might be every beat that's going. They might be tempted to just give me the card. I'll do it, right? So go ahead and put your initial. You could even say, just put your first initial on the card. Do me a favor so we know there's no other card like this in the world. Just write your first initial right there, okay? And they write their first initial on there. So let's assume in this case they've written, boom, whatever. I'm over here. They write an R for, okay? So now it's initialed. So now you're going to do this trick with an initialed or signed playing card. Taking it to that next level, right? There are several very valuable principles I've learned about creating the experience of magic for people over many years of performing live. And really, you can practice magic and you can learn and study it and work on your rehearsals and, and your scripting alone in the room in front of mirrors or anything. But the majority of what you'll ever learn about the art of performing magic you're going to learn live, all right? So keep that in mind. I find with even the simplest trick, I can come up with a new idea for a double lift, a different presentation, a transposition, a van, or something with a double lift, and I find I still need to perform it in front of a live audience, I don't know, 10, 15 times, and this is after many years. It needs 10 or 15 performances before I start to get a sense of it, okay? When I can stop thinking about it and the words, I find scripts that eventually, scripts that start here, lean scripts end up really down to here, down to about 11 words, and that's about performing and developing your style. So having said all that, if you open that wall at the beginning and you showed a clearly empty, your hands are clearly empty, one of those coin holders stapled on all four sides, okay? Then someone selected a card, they put it back in the deck, and you snapped your fingers. And when they spread through the card, corner was missing and it was there and it matched, that would be an amazing trick. But this trick builds, and this is what I want to mention to you, one of these principles, is to build your effects. Make sure that add as many moments of magic. And it's incredible the different kinds. This, that's a moment of magic. That's a moment of magic. These are all little moments. They don't have to necessarily be something that makes no sense, that's mysterious. Gestures, beats, something you say, a silence. So many moments of magic. And so for here, I mean, if all you did, forget about it appeared there. Another example, let me turn it on its head. If you spread through a pack of cards, okay, and you removed a card yourself, and they saw you and heard you tear a corner, and that corner vanished into thin air. That's amazing, okay? Don't get caught thinking like a magician. If you spread out a deck of cards and you removed, no free choice, nothing, you just removed a card and you did this vanish. So this vanish is one of my very favorite vanishes in all of magic, anything I do. Because even as I head into it, I know they're going to have one solution, and that is that I'm palming it, or it went up my sleeves, or I dropped it in my lap. The corner has to have gone somewhere, but it's not in my hands, and my sleeves are up, and I'm standing. So for me, it gives me so much confidence, and you will find the more you believe in your own magic, the more they will too. That is one of the most important rules in all of magic, your belief. Okay? So, and this is fun. You can work on your acting here. There's a million ways to do this. You're covering the corner, the missing corner, of course, with your fingertips here. Like this. It's either facing the audience like this, or maybe in another context to be back to them. But with this trick, mostly it's facing, and in this case, signed. And do not rush this. My key to this is use both hands. Don't just use this hand, okay? Don't just use the left hand. And don't just use the right hand. You're going to find using both really sells it. And I don't know if you can pick it up on the mic here, but either between your thumbnail or even just the pressure of your fingers, okay? Get that sound. Here, like this, like that, okay? I twirl this off to show both sides. Really kind of adds to the reality somehow, okay? Like this. Now, you can vanish this from here. Boom, okay? You can vanish it and hold the thumb. Boom. 1,000, 2 1,000. No, it's really gone. You can tear it off and put it in the other hand. Vanish it like that. You can put it in the other hand. Do the 1,000, 2 1,000. You can take it and put this, if I remove this one, I'm going to actually make it vanish by swallowing it. Show the tongue, show the whole thing, it's gone. I've done lots of these with this principle with flash paper. Tear off the corner, okay, here, like this. Hand that to somebody. Hand that to somebody. All focus. Take your obviously empty hand. Go into your pocket. Take a little piece of flash paper. Take this, fold it up in the flash paper. Show your hand absolutely empty. Go down here, get a lighter, flick that, make that sucker gonzo. Every second, it's there, particularly fold it up in something, put it in an envelope, put it in the card case, okay? Take the, tear off the piece, put it inside the card case, undeniably. Say, hear that, listen, now watch, I'm gonna try. And just by saying, hear that, listen, there's nothing to hear, okay? They can't hear anything. But it's such a quiet little sound anyway that the person thinks, oh, I just didn't quite, he didn't lean it in, and everyone else is gonna think that he heard it. So you're gonna say, listen, and it's gone now. Have them open it up, okay? You can take it, there's just so many things you can do this. So explore a coin pouch. Explore the ways that work for you with this absolutely wonderful, jaw-dropping, no questions asked, vanish. And do not rush that vanish. I have found that because I introduced this very early, before the force, before the tear, before the vanish, okay? Since that is on a glass or between someone's hands or just lying off to the side of the table, they are not, unless you explicitly talk about something appearing, take a look at that. Unless you explicitly talk about the corner is going to appear in there, they don't get ahead of you, which is great theater. So they're very surprised. And when you vanish it, okay, because it's been 30 seconds, because it's been a minute and a half, when you vanish it, their first thought isn't, it's going to be over here. So make sure you don't rush this moment. Really give that vanish, okay? It's due. Boom. Then, of course, what I like to use is my eyes first, right? I do this, and then I go, I don't know if you can see here on camera, but then I'll go like this. I'll look at them, and then I go, and I look down. And that's when you start to get the oh no's, and people get ahead, no way, whatever. And so the person's holding this. You lift like this. If you're just working one or two people, a couple, a small, then have them open it up and they can look at that and they can, of course, lose their lunch because ridiculously impossibly. And people don't even believe it at first. It's, again, don't get caught thinking like a magician. Just because it looks like the corner's in there, you'll find a lot of people don't believe it's actually in there. I mean, that's a big ask. It's a bit... it looks like it. Maybe it's loose in there. Maybe somehow you snuck it in under the thing, but there's no way it's actually inside there, stapled on all four sides. People are not about to jump. Or if you're, they'd expect the magician to do something sneaky at this point, but the trick is done. It's been done for a long time. So you can really enjoy that. So boom, if it's a couple, they open it up. If it's more than 2 or 3 people, though, definitely very important that if you're doing a stand-up show, and what's great about this is this can read, the fact that there's something in that can read from 10 or 15 feet away, okay? Hold it forward, everyone can see now and possibly there's something in there. Is it really in there? What is it? You get all this drama. But if a larger group, what I like to do is I might have someone open it up like this so they can verify there, and then I take it from them and show everybody. Want everybody to, you don't want a situation, I learned this in stand-up comedy, where these 2 people react, and then these 3, and then these 8, and then those 25. You don't get that, you want a communal wow. You want everybody together to experience it as simultaneously as possible, right? So they get that to verify, and then you're up and everyone's going, oh my God, like that. Okay, now, definitely ask somebody else. I'll lean forward in a stand-up show. Would you please reach in there and remove that, okay? And remove that like this. Anything else on the wall? Nothing else on the wall. Now, I want you to really make sure, are all those 4 staples real? And impossibly they are. And all of this is magic, okay? You haven't even got to the final image, but when you get to that final image, because as I say to people, I say, okay, it's the corner of a card. It's the corner of a card that might match you. I know what you're thinking, though. You're saying, okay, that's a corner. But is it the same? I mean, how could it be? Is it really? And I say, only one way. And I don't say, and it perfectly matches. Because that suggests, what I want to, I don't tell people it perfectly matches. And I say, it is the corner. It's not, it matches. I say, and as you can see, it is the corner. It is the, and you get this crazy. And this was for me, this was really the motivation for so much of this trick is to get to this moment here like that. And this is what makes it such a killer giveaway, okay? Insane giveaway. Sort of, they really complete each other, right? The signed card and this and that. You just put the 2 together. Or you could have an envelope and slip them and give them to somebody else. Sign the envelope, give it away. I've done that kind of thing before. Back in trade shows, I used to do that. Have a great souvenir and put the whole thing in a nice little envelope and hand that to them so they can take it home. But a crazy, crazy souvenir. Okay, so having talked about the sort of the final handling on that trick, let's jump in. I want to share with you now a bunch of different tricks, okay? I'm not going to bother to get out the props because you can see what we have now is a very versatile gimmick where we can make anything that is no bigger than the circle, ideally, okay? Unless you want to tear it open, and you could do that. There's some tricks where you make something appear in there, then you tear it open, you show there it really is. But on this project, I want to just stick with things that appear inside here and that stay inside there. So first, they can't be, I don't want them being much bigger than, I don't want them any being bigger than the circle. They could fill the circle, but I don't want them being bigger than that, okay? So that's the one criteria. The other thing is they have to be thin. Now, I have played with some handlings involved, I'm going to say this before jumping into all this stuff, with a finger ring. But very thin finger ring, almost, not even a woman's wedding band, but almost a decorative finger ring, almost a piece of wire, would work okay with the gimmick. You could preload, put the gimmick on top, you're good to go. But in a lot of cases, men's finger rings are too thick, okay? And I didn't want to include anything in here that was fudgy, that when you steel off, the steel wasn't going to be guaranteed. I didn't want to start increasing the thickness, okay? So ask yourself, you might even want to turn off the camera, turn off the video right now, or put it on pause. And think to yourself, what are all the things you could include in here that you could vanish and appear inside this space? Thin and small. Let me give you my ideas right now, okay? No particular order. Here's a whole bunch of ones. First, and I know I promise you, or not promise, but I'm going to share about 8 or 9 ideas with you right now, okay? Very different than the card. And I know you're going to really enjoy a couple of them. They're going to speak right to you. First, super organic. Card case flap. Tear off a flap. Okay, or even, let's even be more stylized. Okay, tear off a piece of that. Okay, take this, put it in the holder, have it all set up inside here like this. Okay, so now you can show it empty, of course, And this is still closed. And on the very casually, say, you guys want to see one more thing? Okay, let's see. What I've shown you my card, show you my card. Okay, how about this? Okay, watch this. This is it. Watch this. Ta-da! Look at that. I know I'm strong, right? Look at that. And you take that, you make that vanish, and it appears in there. You can also do something very cool with a coin. Now, got to be careful. I want you to practice with the card. I want you to practice the stealing off with the card, okay? But you can also do it not with a $50 because it's too thick. The metal starts to, but with a small coin, a nickel or a dime or a penny. You can have one inside here, but what you're going to find is when you set up the gimmick and it's already low with the coin, it's a slightly different feel. Okay? Now we know you're going to practice a little bit so that you can steal this off when handing to a spectator or steal it off when putting it in a glass so it's visible to the audience for a virtual show. Okay? Any of this kind of thing, or steal it off, go in your pocket with a card case. But practice for sure with the torn corner of a card before you try a coin, because a coin has a slightly different feel to it. All right? Now, what's a trick you could do with a coin? Well, you could make a coin vanish and appear inside. Having shown this empty, coin vanishes and appears. That's cool. You could borrow a coin, miscall the date, right? And someone have, I don't know if you know this, there are more nickels in circulation in the United States than any other coin. Does anyone have a nickel? They have a nickel. Okay, great. You take it, you miscall the date. Can someone remember 1983? Okay? And then you make the coin vanish and it appears there and the date matches. Very cool. Or introduce a coin. And I like this better because you can borrow a nickel or borrow a dime and maybe the different states, maybe it's not going to be a perfect match and someone might notice, right? So instead, I'm going to bet some money. I'm going to bet a quarter, okay? In fact, I'm going to make a prediction on it. And what you do is you write on the coin a little ace and a little heart on the coin. You put that down or have someone hold on to it. Boom. Then you force an ace of hearts. And then they see, when they turn it over, they say impossibly ace of hearts. Now, this is an idea of my great friend Richard Sanders. Because what you've done, of course, over here is you've loaded in a matching quarter with an ace and a heart written on it. It's a way of very subtly marking the coin as absolutely unique because it happened in the process. So here, I introduce a coin, show it both sides, mark an ace and a heart on it. It's my prediction. I'm betting a quarter, risking it all. Then you force the ace of hearts with your favorite force. Then, boom, it matches. That's cool. And it's a crazy kicker ending. Boom, make that vanish, and that appears over here. So that's something you can do with a coin, okay? So we did the flap. We did something with a coin. Fold a prediction, of course. Again, you can show this, and they can see you've got your gimmick set up here, okay? And what you can have loaded in here is not a coin. It's not a torn corner of a card or anything. Maybe what you have loaded up in here, boom, is a folded small prediction, folded up, okay? And it's a prediction for any kind of prediction trick you want to do. A card trick, dates, someone's star sign, whatever. They're holding on to it. And then, of course, you can, when you steal that off, when the time comes, then they open it up and they see impossibly inside the holder, stapled on 4 sides, and still inside, firmly inside, the otherwise empty wallet, a prediction has appeared. I mean, just to have anything appear there is amazing. But how could it be a prediction that perfectly matches this star sign or that star sign? So you can either do a very small prediction where the reveal is there, where you show them, or it could be one of those things, like I mentioned earlier, where you then have someone open this up. And there's so much drama to pop and open the staples and they find inside impossibly something has appeared. It's a folded prediction. When they unfold the prediction, it's a perfect match of whatever mentalism trick or something like that. Now let's take a look at what you can do with the dollar bill. I really like this. Money is always really interesting to people, for sure. And what you can do here is you can tear a corner off a dollar bill. Okay, it costs you $1. Tear a corner off a dollar bill. Again, you could use this, you could do a modified version of this again and again, but let's say you're doing it as a souvenir at a corporate gig, giving away that full dollar, that thank you, that gratitude coming off the top there. You load it up, you got this inside, you got the gimmick on top of it, whatever. Maybe you're ending your show and you say, hey guys, thank you so much, I got a really cool souvenir for you. There it is, and you show it. It's an invisible coin. It's the one and only invisible coin. You guys are awesome. I thought I'd give you some money. Invisible coin, thank you so much. And they are unimpressed. You go, okay, you're not impressed with coins, even if they're invisible. You want the money, okay? And so you take out a dollar bill. Now, you take out the bill. Now you can offer this to the crowd, or you could even say, hey, I'll tell you what, I'll give you my autograph, whatever. Okay, you're here. Take it out of your pocket, folded, concealing the fact that it's missing a corner, or you can take it out, let's say, out of a shirt pocket here, reaching in, pulling out, and that way they can see and you can show it a buck. Full $1. Going to give this away to everybody. You can handle it in a way that, notice going from here, dollar bill, then hiding the missing piece over to here. No one's going to think anything, right? Okay, and then you can go into, so you could either sign it in front of them, which is kind of cool. It's an autograph bill at the end there like that. Will conceal in the corner, or just go into this, and then you go into the fake tear like this, make it vanish like that, and you say, I thought I'd start to hand it to someone, say, actually, no, I'll keep a receipt or some old line like that, I'll keep a piece of it myself, and boom, make that vanish. Then you open this up, and now they find inside, and possibly in the what was just empty a moment ago, they find this, and of course the piece matches. Boom, a really cool souvenir. So that's something with the dollar bill. Just an idea here, what I think matters a lot is doing something in the moment. If you do something in the moment, so you could have your business card, and we'll get to that in a second, or you could have even a small pad of paper, and do a quick sketch for them. It could be whatever. And what you've done is you've already torn off the corner of the bottom corner of the sketch. You've hidden it in there, whatever, you've shown it empty, whatever. Then, with the blank page, just a corner missing, okay? You can, on a little small sketch pad, do a sketch of somebody in the front row or doing something, improvise, whatever, tear it off like this. Tear off the corner, make it vanish, and then it appears inside, and then you get to give them this little sketch, an absolutely 100% original sketch you just did, and the corner matches as well. Boom. So kind of a combination of art, improvised comedy or performance, and of course the magic of the corner traveling. We did that. Paper match. Notice that you could hide a paper match inside one of these, okay? And it could even be a half burnt match. So you could have a book of matches, tear out one of them, strike it on fire, right? Wave it like this old thing, and then put in your hand, ow, 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 like this. And when you're waving like this, it's an old technique. You throw it down to the floor. You're like this, chuck it down to the floor, ow, ow. Great in a bar, whatever. Boom, like this, and then of course it's gone, and when they open this up inside, they find, and possibly inside this has appeared the burnt match. Okay, a burnt match is inside there. That's really cool. And again, you could give them, if it's a brand new book of matches, you're at a bar, it's a particular, then you give them as a souvenir, you give them the book of matches with just one match missing, and there it is there entirely. So you got the full effect completely described and contained in the souvenir, which I love doing. Paper matches, a store receipt, okay? Notice too that with a paper napkin or a store receipt, you could do a tear and restore, restoring everything but the one missing piece, right? So instead of tearing it off and making the piece vanish, you could have a small cocktail napkin, say, okay? You've already torn a piece off, you've already hidden it in there, take it out of your pocket, you say, watch, you tear, or actually, sorry, the structure would be, you've torn a corner off a cocktail napkin. Take this, hide it in the gimmick, ball up this. Then you could hand someone at the bar, hand you a paper napkin, okay? A matching one, right? Or you could introduce one, have someone take a look at it. You can tear it into pieces, do a switch, boom, little lighter action from your pocket, whatever, put this away, and then you've restored the paper napkin, everything but one piece. They open that up, and the one piece, the exact missing piece, whether you're using a store receipt and a duplicate, a paper receipt from a store, or the paper napkin, this notion of tearing and restoring everything, but the one piece is a different kind of idea with this cool gimmick. Shirt button, a crazy notion. I've only performed this once at a friend's place, but just worked really well. Shirt button, they're pretty thin, okay, and they're pretty small. So it could be a coat button, but if you're showing up at a gig and all your shirt buttons, but maybe a button near the bottom is missing. So you could set up the gimmick, and at one point in your show, of course, pretend to just tear off the button, right, like this, and pull, make the button vanish, and it appears inside there. A very cool, kind of a little bizarre little souvenir. The shirt button appears inside there. I told you about the cocktail napkin. Stamps, kind of neat. Makes sense, because these holders are normally used for coins, but you can use them for a paper stamp. And one way you could do it, I haven't performed this, is you could take out 6 stamps and do the 1 to 6 force, right? So you got your 6 stamps here, and I back this up a little bit so you can see. You got your 6 stamps, and what you want to do is you want to force. That's good there. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. We've got our 6 stamps. Put them out there from Stamps Around the World. You've already set up the gimmick with your duplicate in this case, right? And then you can say name a number from 1 to 6, and this is the one you want to force, the 7, okay? So it's face, they're all there like this, and you say name a number 1 to 6. They say 1. You say, okay, great, we're going to count it. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So O-N-E. Fine. If they say 2, you go T-W-O. If they say 3, you go 1, 2, 3, you count to that one. If they say 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, count from the other end. If they say 5, you spell it again, F-5-V-E, and 6 is S-I-X, not S-E-X. Different show. So here you force that one, then what you can do is take, it's a stamp, a small postage stamp, do a false transfer, okay? Then pick up the other ones while you're saying, and remember, you could have chosen any one of these and put them in your pocket, right? Real simple way to force a stamp. You could talk about collecting stamps and the idea that there's something sort of magical about stamps. You put them on an envelope, they magically travel to the other end of the world, whatever, make the stamp vanish, it appears inside, right? That's something cool with the stamp. Torn corner of a book. This is really cool, I think, because what you can do is you can have a book, okay? And you could do a force of 1 of 6 books, same way, whatever. You got a book, and you tear off, let's say, page 23. Tear off the very small corner, right? Put it in your gimmick, have it set up, start by showing, there it is, the coin holder's empty, whatever. But put that down there, steal it off the whole bit. Corner of page 23. Now, if what you've done is you've made sure, for example, that you've got a 2 and a 3 on top of the deck. Here we go. Where's my 2? There we go. You got a 2 and 3 on top of the deck. You force these, right? Let's just say you use a riffle force or whatever. It could be a number. They call stop. You deal the 2 cards down like this. You got 2 cards like that. You say boom. Look at that. 2 and 3, 23. Someone's holding the book. Somebody else is holding the wallet. 23. You say watch. I'm just going to try to boom. I just grabbed a piece of the page. 23, you could have chosen any page, and now I'm going to take it. Boom. Done. Pretty amazing, huh? You don't believe me? Take a look. They look in the book, and the corner is missing from page 23. That's crazy. That in itself is an amazing trick. But when they look over here, now the corner's there. What? That could be a show closer. Add that to a book test beforehand, then that or something. Really strong. Again, corner of a page of a book. Really cool. And the last idea here is your business card. I mean, there's no question. If you happen to have a paper business card, a cardboard business card, and the idea at the end, you could show this, show that there like that. Tear off the corner of your business card, make it vanish. It appears over there. The business card perfectly matches that. What an incredible giveaway. What an amazing way to make sure no one's throwing out your business card anytime soon, because you've got this incredible souvenir pack basically with your business card. So I think if what you're looking for is an exciting way to share your business card, it's going to be very, very hard to beat this effect. There you have it, and thank you so, so much. I truly appreciate you investing your time and your money in this amazing trick. I am very confident. I really hope it becomes one of your favorites to perform. There's so many different things you can do with it. Like I said, with most of those, there's very little sleight of hand. So you really, as I said at the beginning, all you have to do is practice one, not even a sleight. You're very comfortable, that steal. Just practice that until it becomes second nature, okay? And I think you're going to find this trick gets amazing responses for you for a lot of good reasons. Now, as for ordering these online, these are, you can get, I've done my research. They're available in Germany, Australia, all over the US, Canada. They're available everywhere, okay? They're old tech, but they're still very commonly done, and you're going to want to go on Google. You'll find them on Amazon, on Etsy, all the things. What you're looking for, these are 2-inch, 2 by 2, 2-inch by 2-inch, because they are available in 1-inch by 1-inch and 1.5 inch. You don't want that. You want the 2 by 2-inch cardboard staple style holders. You'll be able to get a whole bunch for just a few bucks. This diameter here is 39 millimeter. You're looking for the 39 millimeter. Again, you'll find them online, or they're often called the dollar size because they sell them for quarters. They sell them for US half dollars, but these are dollar size. Both Canadian and American are standard size, I believe. Dollar size holders, 2-inch by 2-inch for sure, 39 millimeter. Okay, you'll be able to find them, like I said, all over online. in coin shops and different kinds of things, and you'll be able to buy a big stack of 100 for very little, just a few bucks. All right, which makes them, if they were any cheaper, then they wouldn't be a great souvenir because they wouldn't be that novel, like giving away, I don't know, like a piece of paper or something. It's not much of a souvenir. And if they were more expensive, then it wouldn't be very cost effective to giving away something that costs $6 or $5 if you're doing walk around. But this is something that's just, it's novel enough, and again, it's all stapled on all sides, making it an impossible object, that whole thing. Anyway, good luck with all of that. Put in the practice this trick deserves. Have a blast with it. It's so magical. And as I often say, the tricks I perform the most are the ones that help me feel like a real magician. So I think if you put enough practice on this and you perform it for a few people a few times, and the first time someone's going to open it up, see that, and when they go through the other pockets and they're looking at this thing, that first time when they're studying it, again, like it's some holy relic and their mouth is, their jaw's on the floor, I think you're going to find it becomes one of your favorite tricks, and it's well worth the investment of the modest time and the modest money. All right, thank you so much as always. Have a great day. Take care of yourself. Take care of the people around you, okay? Thank you so much.